Okay, I think we can get going. Thanks so much for guys for joining. Really appreciate it. Feel free to introduce yourselves in the comments. And then we see, I think we're gonna have nice intimate meeting today with session today. We don't have that many people, which is surprising because we had a lot of registrations, but no matter. Like we said before we jumped in. Sometimes it's a good thing when there's not too many people on a call like this. But let us jump in. I just want to double check. Can you guys see my screen? Mark and Tracy, is it sharing? Okay, perfect. I'm always scared if the thing is working. Perfect. So thank you everyone for joining today. Really appreciate it that you are joining us for this session where we'll be looking into the topic of empowering people through a circular economy, which I think is a very valuable topic. And like Tracy just said before we joined, the households and peoples are actually the people that's holding that's contributing the most to the economy. So quite an important topic to tackle. So I'm Christopher van Schalkbeek. I'm from Circular South Africa, and today I'm joined with Tracy Gilmore from Taking Care of Business. So it's one of CSA's partners. And I'll give the floor to her in a moment to go into some details around the social side of the circular economy and how they are contributing to this whole system. Okay, so then just before I start, I'll just like to introduce CSA quite quickly and this lunch club concept that we came up with. So the CSA platform specifically was created in 2023 with the vision to amplify the potential and the value of a just circular economy across South Africa. So my colleague Mark will quickly share some links in the chat on where you can read some more of the more about CSA on our website and maybe join as a member and follow us through our various social platforms. So then moving on to the actual circular lunch club. So this short session that we came up with, I'm sure a lot of you would agree that there's a lot of webinars and a lot of knowledge sharing type things going around. So I'm sure you've witnessed as well, there's some sort of fatigue and an information overload when it comes to these long online sessions. But what we believe is that it's still important to share this type of content and keep the momentum and keep the conversation going. So we decided to have this shorter and more bite-sized formats of informal sessions, which people are more likely to attend and more likely to watch the whole recording. Because I'm sure you guys as well, when you receive a hour or 2 hour recording of a webinar, it's unlikely that you will watch the whole thing. So it's more likely that this information that we share here will actually be digested by our audience. So that's why we keep our presentations quite quick and short and to the point, and also give some opportunity for the audience to interact as well. And then the main purpose is not necessarily to go into a lot of detailed discussions, but rather whet the appetite of the audience for further engagements after the actual lunch club. So that's what we try and do here. So before I hand over to Tracy, I'm just going to give a quick background and overview on a few interesting stats and facts just to set the stage for our discussion. So what we did beforehand, we had two interesting poll questions that we posed to our community. So we asked the question, do you think upskilling through circular economy initiatives could help tackle poverty in your community? And the large majority said yes, it will. But then also some said to some extent. And I think this is an important graph here because it also shows that the circular economy per se is not a silver bullet. So it's not going to solve all our problems. It's just a tool that we can utilize to solve some problems. And then we also asked the question, do you believe the circular economy can play a significant role in reducing unemployment in South Africa? And there, everyone said yes. So I'll definitely get to some interesting unemployment stats, and I'm sure Tracy will mention how they tackle that as well at Taking Care of Business. So just a quick 2 bits of background. So I'm sure most of you has seen this, the definition of the circular economy, so that it is a model that's focused on designing out waste and pollution and keeping products and materials in use at its highest value for as long as possible. And I really like this sentence because this in a way relates to the fact that sometimes people are very quick to go to the recycling topic when it comes to circular economy, but recycling should actually be one of the later or last options. So what if I can use the example of a broken microwave? So most of the time the broken microwave will go to landfill, but what if you might have a responsible person that wants to recycle it, so you can maybe recycle the aluminium parts and the copper parts, but then it is broken up and it's not really a valuable product anymore. So the first option is actually to repair that that piece of equipment so it can be used longer at its highest value. And that's also a very interesting part of taking care of businesses' work is their repair program, which is very valuable in this circular economy context. Then why is it important for South Africa, this circular economy concept? So the stats show, depending on where you look, which numbers you look at, but unemployment is around 33%. So it's about a third of the people in South Africa are unemployed. And the circular economy presents a vital opportunity to create jobs for these unemployed people. And then just a few interesting stats. So the World Economic Forum says that shifting to a circular economy can unlock $4.5 trillion in economic global growth. So that is massive. It just shows the opportunities that there are. And then South Africa's waste problem. So we generate around 54 million tons, which is such a big number. It's difficult to wrap your head around it. But that is our annual number of general waste that is produced. And obviously, and like they say, only 10%, which I think is optimistic, is recycled at the end of the day. So this definitely presents a significant opportunity for these circular economy practices as well. And then again, looking at the job creation potential. So it is estimated that around 700,000 new jobs can be produced in South Africa by 2030. In particular industries like remanufacturing, product life extension, and recycling specifically. So it might not solve, like I said, it might not solve the unemployment crisis we have, but 700,000 jobs is quite significant and it can make a massive difference. So with that, I will hand over to Tracy quickly. She will go through a presentation at what they do at Taking Care of Business. And after that, we'll go into a bit of an open discussion where you can feel free to ask questions and we can just have an informal chat about this topic. So then I'll hand over to you, Tracy, to go into this topic of how we can empower people through a circular economy. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much. Just put this share. There we go, the sharing.
Yes, there we go. Perfect.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Krista. That's a lot to think about. And I know job creation is something massively that opens up our hearts and hopefully our heads too. So at TCB, we very much focus on empowering people who are raising the next generation and doing it using waste as a resource, so through the circular economy. It's a non-profit social enterprise, and it's very much around equipping unemployed South Africans and aspiring entrepreneurs with the skills and the resources they need to unlock the potential so that we can break that cycle of intergenerational poverty. And just to show you some of our stats, so Taking Care of Business, we started in 2010 when we realized there was a lot of surplus stock within the retail supply chain, and we could use that stock as an opportunity to help unemployed South Africans start their own businesses. So self-employment is very much something we focus on. And over the last 15 years, we have recruited over 7,000 people into our various different programs, diverted over 20 million items from the landfills, and people have made lots of profits in their businesses, over 500 million rand in their businesses. So this is our impact over the last 14 years. And it's very inspiring to see that, how people, you've got to create a safe space where people can come, where they can feel safe, where they can heal. And when you start to heal, your anxiety starts to lower. And when your anxiety lowers, your volition starts to rise. So it's all these amazing friendships that form that people start supporting each other very much in that space. And we have coaches, mentors, trainers, facilitators, all doing incredible work. So many people have come to us and offered to impact and to add value. So that's been an amazing journey. There's amazing people in South Africa. I've just had such an experience in that space. So, we have massive unemployment challenges, and the impacts are not just on the economy, but on their society as a whole. It's affecting the individuals and their well-being, and it's reducing living standards and contributing to mental and physical health challenges. So we also have made sure that it's not just coaches and mentors, we also have a counselor in every single one of our branches so that people can also go and get counseling. And there's lots of trauma that needs to find healing. So high unemployment creates societal costs, including increased school dropout rates. We know there's high school dropout rates in South Africa. And we also understand that parents are struggling to invest in their children's future learning. So the future generations are not, the opportunities are limiting them, very much limiting them. And our economy is becoming stagnant. And then we have this massive skills gap that's missing now. How many youth are becoming doctors and then going overseas, So we have a big skills gap, and we've got a massive chunk in the middle of people who would be electricians, plumbers, teachers, nurses. There's a huge, massive chunk in the middle in South Africa that people need to be supported. So taking care of business is very much about responding to opportunities within that circular economy and turning the waste into resources and enabling unemployed South Africans to create sustainable livelihoods by repurposing various different materials. So it's empowering artisans and small businesses. And we need to break that cycle of poverty because so many families are suffering. And we've had lots of experiences in the last 15 years through TCB that we have learned a lot. And I've put a little red flag here. So the economic costs of high unemployment in South Africa. So there is a reduction in employment in consumer spending. So I've red flagged that because, within the circular economy, what is it there? We can be over consumers as well, some of us, and we end up with so much stock. And it just tells us a big thing at TCB, and the amount of women's clothing we get is huge. It's a huge amount. So it's about 80% of the stock we receive. So it creates these little aha moments for all of us. We're having big challenges in the increase in SASSA grants. 28 million South Africans are relying on some government grants at the moment, which is costing taxpayers over 200 million rand. So there's big challenges there. And we aim to reduce reliance on social grants by creating sustainable income opportunities in the longer term for South Africans. So just to show you the various different programs. So it's resell, repair, remake, reskill, and we've got a left field program called Grow ECD. So our first program was resell. In 2010, we actually started, the organization was called the Clothing Bank. And then over time, we have grown and we kind of attached to the name and we knew we should change things. And then we got a letter from the Reserve Bank saying, you can't use the word bank in your name. But the timing was right. So we had to rebrand. So which was actually a good process. So resell is the biggest program. And that's where all of our retailers, South African retailers, donate their surplus stock to us. So that's customer returns, damaged appliances, damaged clothing. And we also sometimes get some bulk donations from them. So we can, at any given time, we have 1,000 women in the program going through a 2-year learning journey. So it's business skills, finance skills, lots of life skills, and as I mentioned, coaching and mentoring. So it's a deep dive into managing your businesses. And that's Cape Town, Joburg, Durban, and East London. And our repair program, Click started giving us in about 2013 appliances. And we're thinking, okay, what are we going to do with these appliances now? And that's when we realized we could start a repair program. And we do the same training as resell, but we added on the technical skills now. So people can repair anything from a kettle all the way to a fridge. So that's the repair program. Mostly men are recruited into the program. Women are very welcome, but it seems like a lot more men prefer to be in that program. And it's a passion project because you see so much transformation happening there. We have a lovely program called Fathers Matter. And it's also that space where that brotherhood starts happening and people start supporting each other. We had a lovely opportunity with ShopRite, I think during about a month ago, and a lot of our guys took their repaired appliances to go and sell actually at ShopRite head office. And it was just so nice to be engaging with them. And there were 2 guys that hadn't brought the right kind of products, and the others all supported them on that journey, just naturally doing that. So it's just so nice to have those experiences, how people support each other. And then with Remake, that's very much taking women that have basic sewing skills and upskilling them. So that's taking them to another level where they can start micro manufacturing businesses using offcuts, damaged clothing, fabrics that we're getting from factories and warehouses. So that's very much, and all our retail partners, the buyers bring in cut samples, and we are getting access to the cut samples, and people are repurposing those and repairing those cut samples now. So it's just so nice to see the creativity coming there. So that's a whole technical training program which we've got. And then Reskill, lots of organizations have reached out to us and said, please, can we share some of this training, and how can we share it? So we've now created a Reskill program where we've created a whole lot of modules which we're very open to sharing. It's a Me and My Money Matters program, so financial literacy. And our methodology is called the A to B methodology. So we've got 9 modules on the A to B methodology, which we're sharing a lot of. And then obviously, after a 2-year journey, you've got business skills now so that you can actually put into any business. And what we noticed a few years back was we started to test things for people, obviously the beauty industry, the catering industry, and early childhood development. So we started to doing little social franchise models of that. And Grow ECD has now been incredible. It's expanding at another level. They've now created an app, and please have a look at that website. I mean, I know it's not necessarily circular economy, but it's a wonderful program. It's supporting principals who are running sustainable businesses now, so that they can also cement those businesses down, and then children are ready for grade 1, grade R. So it's a beautiful program. And my partner, Tracy Chambers, we started TCB together, and over years we've grown a lot, and she runs Grow now, and it's a super passionate project. I don't think I could be involved because it would be too emotional for me with all these gorgeous children everywhere. It's a beautiful thing. And just a little bit of a snapshot. So obviously we collect. So the nice thing is we can adapt to what the retail partners and the wholesalers and manufacturers need. So we can collect from DCs, we can collect from the back of store. So we can respond within 48 hours to their requirements and their needs. And then in the organization, we have to sort everything. So everybody at TCB in the program, all the participants, everybody gives back once a week and actually works in TCB in the program. So then the sorting happens, and put into different categorizing, and then we put all the items into our system, because we've got to make sure that we're doing proper reporting for all of our retail partners. So they obviously love the reporting because on their sustainability side, they've got good stories to tell. And everybody can claim enterprise development points on their BE scorecards as well. So that's a good fit there. And, I must say, if the BE disappeared, it would still carry on, because the minute our retailers come into the environment, you can see they get so inspired by the people they can experience at TCB. People really working hard, being so committed and dedicated. So their hearts just open up beautifully. So it's always worthwhile having people come and visit. So we're always open to doing tours at TCB. And then obviously all that stock, once it's sorted, we distribute it. So we redistribute it. People have access to that stock. They purchase the stock at a very reduced rate, and they either repair it, or on the resale side, it's absolutely fine. They just resell it, repair and remake, or maybe repurpose the items, and then they go and trade. And then we do donate also like 20% of stock to other nonprofit organizations, children's homes and old age homes and things like that. So we can do that too. And then, obviously, as I mentioned, the repairing side of things. We also have nice relationships with recyclers, because we don't recycle, but we have relationships with recyclers. So we send that off to the recycling, and we have a whole weight tracker. So we track all of that weight. And the very nice thing is Iwasa, actually, when we send them quarterly the weight, they actually do donate a certain percentage to us linked to the weight. So we're getting a little bit of funding from them. It's not a huge amount, but it wasn't part of our whole budget. So that's really helped in a few ways. So we've been able to now improve in the repair area. Our power partnerships with so many different stakeholders is incredible. UJ Pete's, for example, the support we get from them, it's amazing. They've actually funded some of our technical trainers in repair. So we've been able to get extra technical trainers. And some of the men, particularly in Joburg, are really amazing with repairing, and they've become trainers. We've got 5 guys that have become trainers themselves. So it's all these little things happening on the time. And then development is all that the the professional and the personal growth. That's very much what we focused on. So that mentorships and the coaching and the counseling is very important. But it's actually the friendships that are, I think, the first prize there. And then it's about sustainability. So at TCB, we are 75% self-funded. That's very much what we keep focusing on. We have received a drop in stock over the last year. We do understand that our retail partners are also having challenges in that space because our economy is quite stagnant. So they also have to find solutions. But you know what? You keep looking for opportunities and keep responding and keep reaching out there to people. And I mean, okay, I know we've got all of this. So just if we talk about the circular economy, we really are at the end of the supply chain, really just repurposing and extending the life of things. So I don't like to over greenwash around TCB, but we do extend the lives of things and repurpose. Yes. So showing you our footprint around the country. Joburg's also amazing. I'm here today, actually, and it's just so nice to be in this building, the energy, and it's amazing. Just some of our retail partners, very supportive. And then that's just showing you the number of participants active at the moment in the last financial year. 905 people active, 1,188 participants active in our 2-year program. That's across everywhere. We've got graduates who are still active as well. So if we have enough stock, they're able to access it. Particularly on the resale side, it's fine. On the repair side, it was a bit challenging. But then this year, PEP came on board in an amazing way. At Home came on board. So it's just, yeah, there is growth opportunities there. We're always reaching out to see how we could further extend that program. But it's fine. You just got to keep communicating out there. And the profits last year that the participants made was 71 million rand. So it's a decent profit that people are making. Obviously, that's the average. So not everybody's, everyone's at a different level, but that's the average. Yeah. I just want to mention that everything that we do is about the head, heart, and hands. So we take that model into everything that we're doing. And that's just showing you a little snapshot of the A to B methodology. And it's very much around creating I can moments for people. We've got to get pushed a little bit out of our comfort zones, but we create those I can moments because we can be very stuck in survival. And if you're stuck in survival, you can't see that bigger picture. And there's so much we've learned around that. In the appliance repair program, in the beginning, there's quite a big drop off because it's a 3-week training curriculum. And, the training's about, someone starts talking about Ohm's law and things like that, and it can make you a bit overwhelmed. And then if someone offers you a 2-week job to come and paint someone's house, you think about the now because it's future discounting because you need that money right now. So you understand what that drop-off can be. And that's why we have fantastic ambassadors who are people that have been through our 2-year journey. They stay for another 2 years as ambassadors. So they can really add a lot of support to people and saying, look, just breathe, stay here. Let's support you in different ways because it's more practical. They know what's happening on the ground. We can't always say that we know that. So if anybody wants to hear more about A to B, please pop me an email. I can send you more information about that. It's a game changer. It pushes us out of our comfort zone. It makes us understand where we're hardwired. So it can trigger us a little bit, but it's always good to do that. And it helps us create that ecosystem for change, very much so. So thank you. That's a little snapshot of what we do.
Wow, that's excellent. Thanks so much, Tracy. I always get goosebumps when I hear you speaking about all these things. It is truly amazing. Thanks so much for sharing. And I can definitely recommend, please, if you guys are close to one of these, one of the TCB locations, please go for a tour. I've been at the Cape Town facility, and I always want to say it's life-changing just to see those people and the difference that can be made if you just put in a bit of effort. It's truly incredible. Yeah, so I think what we can do now, we have a few more minutes. I think we can go a few minutes over time if needed as well. If there's any questions you guys want to ask, I think we are only a few people here, so feel free to unmute your mic and maybe make a comment or ask a question. We can just have a little chat. Please go ahead.
I definitely have a question for Tracy, Christoph. Thank you so much for that wonderful presentation, Christoph. Tracy, that was amazing. And Christoph, of course. I just wanted to know, in your facilities, are there drop-off points? Because I mean, I'm sitting at home as well with some e-waste or some clothes that I don't want.
Mm.
Is it possible? Because I know you get most of your stuff from your retailers, but is it possible for like public to come and drop off at your facilities? Are you open to that? And another thing is, for someone sitting at home now with the mindset of I want to create a business, I want to be an empowered entrepreneur myself. Where would you say, where do they start?
Yes. Okay, so definitely with Woolworths, there's always that you can always drop off stock at Woolworths. They've got bins there. And at the moment, they're busy doing a denim take back campaign actually for us. So we're testing that whole model in our remake program. So we'll see how that goes. And you can get a 20%, I think you can get a voucher, 20% voucher if you buy Woolies denims. If you take back denims, you can get a 20% discount if you're buying Woolies brand denim. I think that's something. So that's worth it. On the appliance side, we've been thinking about that. So some people will phone us and say, please, can you come and fetch our stove or whatever in an area? We can do that. But, like in Gauteng, that's big. That's big to do that. So we're thinking around how can we get that right? People can definitely drop off, but I understand like if we're in Midrand, not everyone's going to come and drop off in Midrand, and same in Cape Town being Thornton. So we're thinking about how we could redo that. So we do engage a bit with the municipalities and stuff. And I think we must try and, as you say, that's a little bit of a highlight. I must focus on that, thinking how we can get that right. Yes. Thank you. That's true.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot for that, Tracy. Michelle, I see your hand. Please go ahead.
Hi, Tracy. Thank you once again for your presentation. I mean, I've been to the Durban one, as you know, a couple of times, and you kind of, in one of your slides, you touched on the kind of like the logistics, the logistics around sorting the stock that you receive, and having seen the condition that it comes in. Yeah, I think I'm amazed that in the fact that you're able to turn it around. I mean, are you seeing any trends in terms of kind of what's coming back and the conditions that it's coming back and what's usable and what's not usable?
Yeah, it's really interesting because I would say 80% is usable. It's really interesting. So we do also end up with some dead stock. We do. So I'm starting to think about maybe we must get a crusher, because like the remake ladies are saying, well, they could use the crushing as stuffings because it's not just they don't just repurpose into clothing, they can repurpose into toys and things. So maybe that's something I need to explore. Not a strength, not that I know about that. So I need to get someone who can give us some advice on that. So about 80% it's interesting that it might just have some makeup on the collar. It's not all damaged things. And like with appliances, it could be from our retail partners, the box could be damaged. And so, and it's quite repairable. It's like simple repairing. So yes, but we do have some dead stock, and a few nonprofits have reached out to us who also got charity shops. So we're now also donating to them to see how we can move that. But then as you're saying, it makes me think we don't look further than that. If you know what I mean? We give it to them, and then they take it on from there, which we should probably track things more. Does that make sense, Michelle?
Yes, it does. I suppose, yeah, it's solving each problem as it evolves.
Yeah, shoes are the challenge, just saying.
Yes,
Shoes are
yes.
definitely the challenge.
I've seen those shoes.
Yes.
And that's an interesting one that you mentioned, shoes, Tracy, because I'm also thinking in my mind. So clothes you can always crush or shred or do something with, but what do you do with shoes, with all those parts that's in a shoe? There's the rubber, there's all, yeah, that is a tough one.
I did reach out to someone last year who he has tested it. Michelle, you will know him actually. He's in KZN, I think. He crushes them, and about 12% of the shoes go into tiles. So nice rubbery kind of tiles. But the thing is, it does cost 400 and something rand for a square meter of those tiles. And you can go to CTM and get 99 rand a square meter. But maybe over time the price will come down a little bit.
Yeah. And that's actually a good point, because I think that's with this whole circular economy concept, because our economic system is developed around this take, make and waste system. It's so efficient that it has become much cheaper than it should actually be. So that is a concern, and I think that's a whole systematic change that needs we had to go through, because these circular applications should actually, in principle, be cheaper than this stuff that's just thrown away. The problem is all these other things are not priced in. So if you pay 99 Rand for that tile, it doesn't incorporate all the emissions from the mining and what happens with that ceramic tile after it's in a landfill. That's the problem. Hopefully we can change that one step at a time.
Yes.
So there is a guy, just on that point, there is a guy in KZN who does boots, but it's a monomaterial, so they're PVC boots which are supplied to the mining industry, and he has a take back scheme, and it's recycled. So where it's a monomaterial, it is possible to recycle footwear, but I mean the cheap, the fashion footwear, there's, as you said, there's different components and different materials, and that's where the challenge comes.
Does he want our shoes?
We can only ask. I can connect you.
Okay, yes, we could chat. One of our ladies, actually, she's amazing. She repairs a lot of those shoes. She can buy them so as cheap as chips, and then she repairs them. And she's been selling them. She goes into very low income communities and she sells them there. And she started a nice little business doing that.
Excellent. Thanks for those inputs, Michelle. I'm glad to hear there's a connection made already. That means the session is already becoming valuable. Thanks a lot. And then is there any other questions from the audience? Please go ahead. Apologies, I see we're all already over time. This half an hour always flies by. But what we will do, all the registrants, we will send out an email afterwards with all the main points that came out of the session and all the resources, the websites and the resources that you can link to as well, so that we can further this discussion afterwards.
Sorry, I think, Mark, you actually mentioned people joining TCB. Yes, so I didn't answer that question. Sorry. Yes, so we have open days in the different categories. So like resale, there's 5 open days a year. In repair, there's 2 or 3, depending on Cape Town or Durban and Joburg, and then remake also 3 a year. So people can come to the open day, and it gives you a nice deep dive into the whole process. So it's definitely worth the open day. Then we do an occupational intelligence workshops, and we do interviews, and everybody comes and volunteers at TCB. We pay transport fees during that time, just for a month, and we do a home visit because we've got to assess that there's change. So we use the green light tool as an assessment, and then people can see, okay, is this the environment I want to be in? And they can experience with other people trading and running businesses. So that's how the process is.
Excellent. Thanks, Tracy. I also forgot about that one for Mark. Thanks, Mark.
Sorry.
Thank you so much, Tracy.
If there is no other questions, I think we can close the session for now, seeing as we're 5 minutes over time already. So just to close off, thank you so much, everyone, for joining. Like we said, we will send out the recording to all the registrants and any other information that was shared in the chat or that we spoke about. In the meantime, feel free to connect on our social media platforms and things that Mark shared, and join us as a member at CSA as well, so that we can further this discussion. And then the last point, we have a survey that will pop up as soon as we close the session. If you can just it'll take 10 seconds to just answer a few questions on how the session was. That will be very valuable for us. Thank you very much. Okay, everyone, thank you very much for joining. This was a great session. I enjoyed it a lot. And Tracy, thank you very much for your time. We know you're very busy, so we really appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Enjoy your nice warm day.
Yeah, same that side. We'll chat soon.
Bye-bye. Bye, Michelle.
Bye, everyone.